Hi everyone, it's Killshot 99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 14, Bold Predictions. This is one that a lot of people wait for, a lot of people message me. No, this isn't spoiler information, but this is where we're going to kind of throw it all out there. And I think we've got some pretty good theories for this week. We got a little bit of a path of what we think is going to go down. We know it's not going to all be flashback stuff, but we have seen a couple images. Even the Skybound site, which usually posts stills from this week's episode, only has a couple things, and it is Michonne walking up that path as we talked about with the key hidden, and she's pregnant's flashback. But then we also get this scene with Daryl. This is very intriguing. Like, what's he doing in the school? Did he accidentally kill the wrong people? I think we're going to get flashbacks, but it's going to be two different paths that are going to converge together, because the pictures I've seen so far are not really Daryl and Michonne. It's Michonne doing her own thing and Daryl doing his own thing. So it definitely looks like they're both out there trying to find Rick, and they run into some bad hombres. So first of all, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here on this exciting Tuesday night. Many of you were involved in the preview stream we did a little bit earlier. Some good conversation around that. So I'm going to throw it out there with a couple bold predictions. First of all, as we talked about, it is going to be two things happen simultaneously. We're going to get flashbacks and we're going to get real time. One of the things happening in real time that we can't gloss over, we can't forget about, is the fact that Beta is stuck in an elevator shaft. And I don't know about you, but Beta has not been out for blood as of yet. He certainly, he wanted the girl. I think he could take out a few people. Do you guys feel that Beta sort of losing that fight, getting taken advantage of to a certain degree, is going to put him in berserk mode? It is going to make him just absolutely lose his freaking mind. We've not seen a lot of death with Alpha and Beta up to this point, but I'm certainly going to make a bold prediction. And look, bold predictions can come in a lot of different shapes and sizes. The other bold prediction I'm going to make is I don't think someone's going to help Beta out. I think that would appear to be weak if Alpha shows up and, hey, Beta, here, I'm going to throw this rope down. No. I think Beta's got to have a, look, he just survived the fall. He's going to have to, just jump, bang on this elevator, knock the elevator shaft all the way down, and then figure it out, not get the help of Alpha, because that's just going to show some weakness, and that falling on his back, knocking his head, probably is going to make him realize that he needs to turn up the heat just a little bit more. Yeah, I agree with you, Greg. So the other thing that I think we're going to get some bits and pieces of are going to be the Highwaymen. It does look like the fair is starting. People are starting to show up. I don't think it's going to be in full swing. Party doesn't start till Alpha gets there. But this is at least going to be a one-day event. Could even be longer than a one-day event. But people are starting to do a little bit of mingling. I think we're finally going to see that scene with our Highwayman walking by Jerry with the horse. We were wondering about that for a long time. Sherry Bentley says, what do you think about the talk that Michonne had with Lydia? Sherry, I think both of those talks, Michonne's talk with Lydia definitely had a certain tone to it, and it was pretty much sometimes you got to know when to leave and not be a burden or inconvenience on other people. But not to be outdone, Daryl had a different talk, but I think it accomplished the same thing, because it's Judith saying to Daryl, would you like to stay? And Daryl says no. So you're going to see Judith and Lydia, basically their storylines are going to be used in order to converge. So Michonne wants Lydia to leave and not be a burden. Daryl wants to explain things to Judith about why he can't stay. So a little bit of a paradox there. But I do think both are, I don't know, I just have this weird feeling that it would be a great storytelling method is to have each of those lead into their own flashback, where Michonne saying, a lot of things happened, we can't trust people, back many years ago when I was, she'll probably say, when I was pregnant with RJ, we were looking, we trusted people. We did these things. And then I think it'll go to her story. And then I think and I think Daryl's going to be talking to Judith and say, hey, we've done some things. And Daryl already hinted at that a little bit because Henry came up to Daryl and said, I know what you did. And Daryl said, oh, you don't know everything. And they kind of stopped it. And then Judith had the conversation. And Daryl pretty much says, Judith said, I know about the war. And Daryl's like, no, you don't know about everything. So, I mean, he pretty much said to say, Daryl has like one line, and he just says it over and over and over again throughout the entire show. So, that, to me, was enough of a hint as well that he's going to tell his story about what it was like and the search and all of those things. I could be completely wrong with the way that they're going to do it, but that's why we do bold predictions, right? Is to get the prediction out there and to see if it is that type of storytelling. And what makes me feel pretty good about it is the fact that these stills, these pictures, are each of them on their separate journey, trying to accomplish the same thing. They're just scouring the area. And look, we've heard, I wouldn't call it a plot hole. Not everything can be answered. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Daryl backtracking and we see maybe that cabin that Rick went by, if we see the rebar, all of those things sort of play out. Because we've speculated like, okay, well, what did they do? They wanted to find out how Rick got hurt. Where did it start from? So I wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of that story kind of blended into it as well, about where it started and where it ended up, and then, what happened. I mean, Judith got the gun. So we certainly know that there's pieces that have been discovered. But now, if you want to talk strictly plot hole, my question would be this. How did they get the gun and not get some muddy footprints? Or not see that Rick's body was dragged or picked up? Or 2 or 3 people, their shoes in the mud. How long was the gun there? I mean, those are all, I think, things that your average viewer might not stop to think about. Like, there had to be a trail. It's by a riverbank. I get it, Ellis. Michonne gives the gun to Judith, but did Jay just throw the gun, 50 yards away so they would find it? I mean, a lot of things we could speculate. I'm not ready to go full scale with that on a bold prediction, but certainly some of the other things in the way that they're gonna play it. Yeah, and one would assume he didn't stop bleeding either, Viola. I'm going to jump around, catch a couple comments here. Dark Stark says maybe some of the walkers weren't dead, walked out of the river trying to chase them, which is why the footsteps were covered up. That's a possibility, that walkers were still there. We may find out in this episode. But Ellis, there's a lot of big questions. It's the more things we think that we're going to see, I just got a whole bunch of other ideas and thoughts. I think that many of the questions we have won't be answered, and we'll probably do a follow-up stream just talking about, we could call it plot holes if you guys want to, and I'm not trying to be critical or negative, but I do think there are things that we're going to need to find out at some point. I'm pretty sure right after that episode, was it 9/7? I'm pretty sure right after that episode, we did a video and we talked about some of the plot holes. Now, some of those have been answered already, and a few more will be as well, but not all of them can be. Yeah, The RV, the location of the RV. Another question. Damon, Kills, hope you see this. I have a feeling Judith will get captured by the Whispers, and that is when Negan is set free to help. Damon, that's a possibility. But if Negan is blending in with the Whispers, how do you guys feel about the dude in the mask with the Whispers at the fair being Negan? Do you guys feel pretty comfortable with that? I'm going to ask that as a question before I kind of get to the whole Judith being kidnapped ordeal. Okay, so if you feel like that's Negan, that theoretically could happen at the end of this week's episode. Because it does look like this week's episode is going to end with Alpha and Beta standing there at the edge of the kingdom. And one of the ones, there were only like 4 or 5 Whispers they had with them, and one of them was Negan. He just kind of joined in and blended in. Now, why would he be there and how would he get there? And there is no Judith there. So I'm just going to throw this out there as a bold prediction. Negan has already been free. He's already came back. I think Judith's going to let him out to go to the fair. I think Judith's going to let him out to go see what's going on. I don't know that he necessarily, that something bad has to happen in order for him to participate in it. I think she feels bad for him. They almost set this up last week when she said, look, he's not a monster. And Michonne pretty much threw down the gauntlet, like, stay away from him. Why wouldn't she go back and say, you know what, he's not a monster. If you promise you'll come back, I'll let you out. Nobody else is here. They're all going away. And then he's got to find a way to get there, and he hears a little bit about this group, and that's his ticket. That's his ticket in. And it wouldn't it kind of complement Negan's character? Look, Greg LeBeau says I'm not confident in that. And I'll tell you why I think it's a possibility, Greg. On its surface, maybe it doesn't seem that could happen. But Negan is not one that shies away from risk. He likes the threat. He likes that edginess. And it would also add a level of humor and danger to Negan that I would find enjoyment in. I think you see a few of these people walking out, Negan grabs one of them, takes them in the woods, takes their mask, and then all of a sudden jumps in. I mean, the preview to that was a little bit funny. I mean, the way he's walking and turns around and you see that look, I could see that played out as a little bit of comic relief before the major deaths start to happen. So I could see that as his challenge. Like, let me see if I can just join this group. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm going to throw it out there as a bold prediction. I mean, you guys know what these predictions are all about. They're taking, we're going to take a little risk with our predictions like Negan. Now, the problem's going to be is if he's in that small group of Whisperers and they start pulling people out of the fair and killing them, what does he do? And I think it would be real easy to turn on him and say, well, you should have done something. But if he's there by himself, he may just have to wait for the opportune moment. Guilty by association. Yeah, I mean, look, there's people that are going to hold on to that Negan hatred as long as possible. But it really all depends on when we see the alpha beta scene. If we don't see that until the very end, you're absolutely right. But I'm pretty comfortable that that's Negan, and he is in that group. So it would be a little hard to explain. And I think he deserves to get out to go to the fair. I mean, this is a big event. He's been locked up. He's had no interaction, and he can't show up and show his face, but he can at least get close with this group. William, the 999 walking billboard. Hey, William, also, a few people want to know how you got the name Walking Dead Billboard for the 999 Army. If you guys have not seen the tattoo, you got to check it out. Going with Delaware. In the finale, Michonne walks up to the cell, makes a deal with Negan to help, and lets him out. William, I would not have a problem with that, except for what we've heard through the rumor mill is that Daryl, Michonne, and Carol could all be prisoners at the Whisperer camp. Not confirmed yet, but pretty strong rumor that Michonne is not in a situation to let him out. So, not that he can't get out, but I feel more like it's going to be Judith. It's going to be Now, if Michonne is captured, and let's say Negan does not join in on the group for the fair, perhaps Judith hides. I think we approach this from a perspective of Judith's got to get captured and Negan's got to do something to help Judith. But it's also possible that Michonne goes to the fair. Michonne gets taken. Daryl gets taken. Carol gets taken. And Judith needs Negan, and she's able to get away. Judith's crafty. Don't just assume that she gets captured. She might actually be the one that doesn't get captured. She lets Negan out to go save her mom. Commodore Crawfish. If the three are captured, could we see Dwighty Boy coming back? No, I think Negan is going to get a little bit. Well, you know what? Not Negan. Maybe Aaron. I wonder if Aaron will take the role of Dwight and sort of have his militia. I mean, if Dwight came back, then I would be fine with it. I'd love for Dwight and John Dory to show up, and then I'd say, yes, a couple people from Fear made it over the second time skip. But the time skip works, but I think they're doing too much back and forth with two shows is going to be a little bit hard to keep up with before long. I mean, I'm okay with it. I'd love to see it play out that way, but I just don't know that all the fans want to. Gives us something cool to talk about, but I think the average fan doesn't want to really go in and have to do all this calculating. Slat says, why would Judith go to Negan out of all the people? That's a real question. Why would she not go to Negan out of all people? I mean, this is a 6-year relationship. Judith sees something in Negan and has a bond with Negan, and certainly not only does she trust him, look, if this fair goes down the way we think it's going to go down, and major people die and other people get captured, the question I have for each of you, what is that going to do to the morale of the group? Let's throw out a few names, okay? Let's say Ezekiel dies. Let's say Rosita potentially dies. The three toughest characters on the show would be Carol, Michonne, and Daryl. If you capture those three people, well, who's going to be the person brave enough to do anything? Can you guys think of anybody? I mean, maybe Aaron, but I can't think of anybody that would be more willing to take a risk than Negan. I don't see Ron Burgundy. I don't see Judith going up to Eugene. Michonne's captured. Come on, guys. Really? Richard? Eugene? What's that going to look and sound like? Uncle Eugene, you have to help me. My mom's been kidnapped. Well, in the current state situation, we don't quite have the manpower or the firepower. I'm going to respectfully decline your invitation, young lady, and you might want to take that key and mosey on over to Uncle Negan. I mean, that ain't going down. Come on. Really? You honestly think she's going to go over and ask Eugene? No. It's got to be somebody that is going to do it. It's got to be somebody that doesn't mind dying. Don't underestimate this Negan Judith bond. They've devoted almost an entire episode to it. It's a big deal. And the fact that Negan's been locked up, they're not just going to let him rot away in a jail cell. There's big things coming for Negan. That is probably, other than the Red Fair and the border scene, Negan's last 3 episodes are probably what I'm most looking forward to. I've been looking forward to it for a while, and they've just been containing him, literally and literally. Sheila Beasley says, if those 3 get captured, we're going to need Negan. Absolutely. Sheila, this is probably one of the predictions that 7 months ago, that I've been saying for a while. And you guys remember the analogy that I used is, what will it take for the general audience to become a big fan of Negan? Not just, okay, he's a good character. Okay, we're gonna use him for whatever he's good for. I'm talking wholesale adoption, and say, wow, yes, we got Negan, we need him. They did it with locking him up. They did it with him showing he could change. They did it with giving him freedom and having him come back. But they really had to do it through Judith. And we saw it with their talks. We saw it with, the scene where he went back with her. We see Judith. Here's what's funny. Not just to his face. There's one character on the show that has actually defended Negan when he wasn't there, and that's Judith. Judith was fighting for him. Look, everybody else could probably, hype it up and say, yeah, Negan, we believe you. Maybe you reformed. Go out and help us fight. Judith actually stood up to her mom and said, he's not a monster. So don't just gloss over that dialogue and that conversation. One, I will tell you, it's some of the best acting I've seen on the show. She's amazing. But secondly, watch. And now, I'm not totally going against Delaware. I think it's a very valid storyline that Judith could be captured, and that's Negan's motivation. And if Michonne doesn't get captured, like is being rumored, then I'm down with it. Michonne cuts a deal, lets him out, and that does solve that challenge. But from what we've heard, Carol, Daryl, and Michonne are all in a compromised situation. And so in that case, it would make sense for me. Yeah, you could say Eugene lets Negan out. Father G lets him out. Aaron lets him out. I think it would be much stronger to continue with that Judith bond, that Judith needs him to do something and do something big. Thanks so much, Greg. We will see you tomorrow. Appreciate you being here. Love you hashtagging The Walking Dead Red. Fair before you roll out. Whisper Omega. I'm going to say Beta from that elevator shaft. I think Beta's going to save himself, Omega. And the beast mode will be in full effect. Let me jump around here and see if I got some more bold predictions that we might not have covered. So the Beta escape, the chat between Michonne and Lydia, Daryl and Judy, I think simultaneous leading into flashbacks. The Highwaymen, I think, will officially make their presence known at the Red Fair. Not guarding the roads, it appears. That could be a problem. That could be Alpha's gateway to get there. And I am, at least for now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm going to say that Negan gets to see what's going on with the fair firsthand. Don't you kind of feel like... That's a loaded question. I won't ask it that way. Actually, there's no way to ask this without it being a loaded question. Wouldn't it be better for Negan to actually stand there and witness the violence of the Whispers firsthand instead of not knowing what he's dealing with and waiting for someone to let him out of the jail cell? I mean, would that not be a cool story of, hey, you've been locked up for a long time, go check this out, see what's going on with the communities, listen in, and then he happens to find out what the Whispers really do. I certainly think that would help him in the overall fight. I'm going to jump around, check out a couple comments here. So, Omega, Kills, what is Henry going to do with the rest of the episodes? What about the potential spoilers of him? Or are they off? Well, the potential spoilers of Henry are that Henry... There were two spoilers, and I do think one of them is off. One of the spoilers was that Henry gets captured, but then one of the spoilers was that Henry runs into Alpha with a bloody machete on the road. I don't think Henry gets captured again. But I do think Henry will run into Alpha. We got William, the 999 Walking Billboard, says, I think Beta can still be the strong beast even if Alpha helps. It would make Alpha look stronger and explain their bond a little. William, the thing is, how's Alpha going to know that Beta's trapped in an elevator shaft? Especially if he whispers. No, I mean, she might hear him, but this is, an elevator shaft is not something that, there's concrete in that. So, I just feel like it makes more sense that he's going to find a way to get out. I think it does a couple things. It shows his toughness, but Alpha's going to show up. She's going to see a barricade. She's going to climb over. She's going to go up. Julie, I don't think Alpha knows he's there. Beta's on his own. Beta was going after Daryl, and everybody's dead. So, I would say look for Beta to escape, not, I don't know. I just don't see Alpha tracking Beta down. I don't think Alpha has, think about this. Does Alpha have any reason to believe that Beta is not going to kill Daryl? Does she have any reason to believe that he's going to fail and end up in an elevator shaft? Does she have any reason to track him down and check up on him? And if she was going to do that, why didn't she just go with him in the first place? Yeah, just that's not very congruent to me. Well, she knew Beta was tracking them, but she didn't know where they went. I mean, she didn't know that they were going to go to a group of abandoned buildings with a choke point. William says Rick always found his people in crazy situations. Yes. And you know what we call that, William? We call that Fear the Walking Dead convenient. But you know what's changed since then? Angela Kang started taking over the show. And I would be willing to bet under Angela Kang's leadership, there's a whole lot less convenient situations. She's quick, and she tends to keep the story moving along pretty well. I'm telling you, you know what? No side bet, but Sunday night we'll revisit it. I'm telling you, Beta's he's gonna use his strength. He's gonna jump up and he's gonna unlodge that elevator, ride it down to the bottom, and he's gonna climb out. I can see it happening. Planet Earth, somebody needs to start figuring out a way to differentiate the whispers from the herd in a hurry. Dog's going to have to add that value. Well, and in a serious planet, Connie started figuring that out already. I mean, Daryl shoots them. Connie just makes noise. Like, she'll shoot a window out and see if they turn and they walk in a different direction. We know how to attract walkers. Eugene will figure out some radio frequency or some flying drone with the iPod attached to it. Daryl Duke kills. You should sell stuff on infomercials. You remind me of the knife seller guy. On at like 3 a.m. How do you know I'm not the knife seller guy at 3 a.m.? Makes you think, doesn't it? Hi, 999 Army. Just want to let you know about a brand new special running today. It's called the Walking Dead Knives. We only sell it at 3 a.m. If you guys would like to participate, if you'd like to get your order in, you have 60 seconds now. Call us at 1-800-TWD-KNIFE. There you go. That was for you. Yeah, those of you watching the playback, just don't listen to the last 60 seconds of that. No, I'm not going to Alpha. I guess Alpha could sell knives. Hi, I'm Alpha, and this is Butcher Knife for only $19.99. There you go. Alpha could sell knives. Alpha's as bad as Easy Street, I have to tell you. You know what? I'm going to table this off-topic conversation for Freestyle Fridays. So if you guys want to talk about 3 a.m. knife selling and all of those above, then be a part of our Freestyle Fridays, because we will definitely get some off-the-wall topics. So this is the part of the stream before we wind it down, where I ask each of you to make a bold prediction. It needs to be bold. Don't give me the look. And honestly, Beta breaking the elevator is a little bit weak, but I got some bold stuff in there as well. But probably of all the stuff I talked about, how he escapes might be one of the weaker ones. Now, my super bold prediction is that Judith lets Negan out and that he goes to the fair and follows in with the pack and he's going to see it firsthand. That's my really, really bold prediction for this week. Richard Ruiz says Jerry kills a highwayman. So let's see a few of the other bold predictions. I predict the Pike the like, but there you go. Mike Reiser says nobody dies in current time. By nobody, I think you mean a major character. Maybe not. Maybe a Whisperer could die. KCF says Lydia leaves Alexandria and Judith follows. That's bold. I like that. June Smith. Bold as Rick Grimes comes to say, June, stop it. Just no. June, how many tickets are you going to buy for the Rick Grimes movie if it were at a movie theater? Would you rent out the whole movie theater? Robin Vance says Judith goes missing. Crystal says Judith gets taken. Michonne and Daryl go looking for her. I just don't like somebody else being taken and somebody else goes. Do you guys realize? Let me stop for a second. If somebody else gets taken and somebody goes looking for them, it'll be probably the fourth time somebody went looking for them. Eugene and Rosita were missing. Daryl, Aaron, Jesus, they went looking for him. Jesus died. Luke and Alden went missing. We know how that turned out. Somebody went looking for him. Henry went missing. Somebody went looking for him. Please, let nobody else get taken and people go looking for him. I'm done with that. At this point, Alpha needs to kill people. Really. Enough of the, we're going to hold you until somebody comes looking for you. Now, I'm not going to rant. I promise I won't rant at the end of the stream. I'm just saying if I see one more person tied up at a camp, and we've heard that Henry could be captured, Daryl, Michonne, and Carol could all be captured. If they're going to be captured, it better be only because Alpha wants them to see the decapitated heads of their loved ones. That should be the only reason for it at this point. Alpha coming back. I am Alpha, and I am serious this time. And then she brings the head of Ezekiel and hands it to Carol, and we see Carol absolutely break down. Look, I know you guys don't like that, and I'm not saying that I love that, but if I had a choice between somebody tied to a tree again and a rescue mission, or somebody tied to a tree and they were there for the sole purpose of being psychologically broken down, I'm going to have to pick the better story. That's just me. And maybe it's Henry. Maybe Henry meets Alpha on that road, and she comes strolling in, holding him by the hair of his head, and, hey, does this belong to you? You took my daughter, and now I have your son. That was creepy. Sorry, that just creeped me out. That could be like an actual dialogue. Yeah, all right. Anyway, on that, Donnie Thompson like, no, it doesn't happen that way. All right, everybody. Hey, we're about 40 minutes, so I hate to leave it on that extremely morbid note, but we got a lot to talk about. So bold predictions, that's for this week. Hey, we're going to get some really bold predictions over the next couple weeks because as you guys know, there's going to be kind of some predictions tomorrow night. If you guys don't know what happens at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, we are doing our second round of Pick'em or Pike'em. I will have 6 brand new characters. The only thing that I'm going to ask you guys, I got one homework assignment. And some of you may have already done it. Before we get to that, a couple super chats I want to jump to. William the Walking Dead Billboard says, so ready to see Carol go ballistic. Won't see it till season 10 though, William. And Sherry Bentley says, you're going to need to get a shrink for me. Sherry, we will be doing our reaction video is really kind of like The Walking Dead therapy. So we will have that, especially in episode 15, because that's where a lot of stuff is definitely going to go down. Yes, Damon DeRizio, homework. Just an easy homework assignment. If you guys have not watched the video that we did on Sunday morning called 6 Possible Deaths, we kind of subnamed it, Pick 'em or Pike 'em. Watch that video because we assign percentages to the first 6 people. That's going to prepare you for the video that we do tomorrow night. It'll tell you all the rules. We're going to focus on one person. I've got 6. If you've already watched it, the homework is done. Then I don't have to waste a lot of time for the first 15 minutes of the stream tomorrow explaining what the rules are. Because that happened during the last one. People wanted to talk about 30 people they think are being piked. And it only works is if we talk about one person, focus on that person, and then we go to the next and the next. So I will have 6 brand new shiny faces tomorrow night, and we will do Pick 'em or Pike 'em. So if you don't know what that's all about, watch the Sunday stream. You'll be 100% prepared for it. And then tomorrow we're gonna probably get a couple slam dunks. And we're going to do that a couple more times before episode number 15. All right, everybody. I want to say thank you for just fabulous month. We're about to hit 1,000 Facebook fans. That's a very big deal. It's a milestone we set about a year ago when, we had 50, 100. Many of you are on Facebook. If you're not, I'm going to ask you guys to also do me a big favor. There's a link down below you guys can see over on the left. We are the Walking Dead 999 Army. And once we hit 1,000, I'm going to do something kind of neat, and I'll make an announcement. So I think we were at like 993. So get over there. If you're one of the last 7, get your ass over there and hit that join button because we need those final 7. It's a big milestone. I know it doesn't sound like a big number, but I want to do something kind of cool once we hit 1,000. And I think we'll get there by tomorrow. So hold tight for that. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Patreons in the top left-hand corner. Thank you so much for everything that you guys do. The channel members over in the top right. There's links to all this stuff if you guys want to join. Moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kells. And one more shout out that I have to do, and that is to each and every one of you. So do me a favor. Give me a hashtag TWD Red Fair. And I'm going to pick 20, 30, 40 people, and I'm going to give you a shout-out in this stream as we wind this thing down. I see Cammie thought it was going to be 999. I gave you like the okey doke. Kind of tricked you up a little bit. All right, hashtag TWD Red Fair. And there you go. Lynn Nesbitt, thank you so much. Sheila Beasley, Corey Bollmeyer, Damon DeRizio, Joe Fulford, Michonne Grimes, KCF, Daryl Duke, Jessica Gilbert, Viola McGowan. We're going to get this thing trending within the next couple weeks. You watch and see. June Smith, thank you. Skullcrusher 69, Samantha Coombs, From the Pit, Little Chi, Bumblebee Brown. I saw the Ghost streaming up really quickly there. Andrew McSherry, thank you. William, the 999 Walking Billboard. Melissa Eaglebarger, thank you. Donnie Thompson, Michael Reiser. That one Capricorn, thank you. I see a lot of new people, too. Oh, by the way, make sure the new people, because I'm seeing some faces we haven't seen in a long time, subscribe. It's not hard to do. Join this channel. Hang out with us. We do streams 8 o'clock, 9:30. We're going to be streaming 2 times tomorrow night. Then Thursday night, we're going to be streaming 2 times Thursday. And then, of course, we got Freestyle Friday. And we do a few weekend streams as well, too. So we'd love for you guys to hang out with us every night. Lenore Cohen, thank you. Have a good night as well. Star Guitar Goddess, thank you. Denise Counts. Lisa Smith, thank you. Roderick Lawson. Laura Rain, thank you. Ollie Smith. Jay Nas, thank you. Hey, I like it, man. I like being bold with these predictions. DD Ohio, thank you. Have a good night. Goucher as well. Francine Lostoco, thank you. Gina Crockett, good to see you. Newfield 12. Crystal the Singer Chick Gore, thank you. Have a great night as well. Thank you, Jeannie. Appreciate that. Jay Twin on tour. Have a good night. Ron Burgundy Moore as well. Also, a ton of Linda Ybarra. There's a Marcia Cooper. There's a ton of people I miss on these shout-outs. I can't get everybody. Mark Jacob. If I miss you guys in one of these streams, then make sure just shoot me a kick message or just let me know after a couple streams. Like, Kills, you haven't shouted me out. I see Tim Stevens. Also see Sheila Mack. Ton of awesome people. And thank you so much for being here every night. I'll see everybody tomorrow night, 8 o'clock for Pick'em and Pike'em, and also 9:30 tomorrow night for our 5 best scenes from last week and also our recap. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.